Hi, this is Dr. Gordo, and welcome to the Raven and the Writing Desk. Today we are looking at grammatical articles. Not to be confused with what you read in a newspaper, grammatical articles are what we use when we are indicating to our audience if we're referring to something specific or unspecific, if we're referring to something in general or something we really want to zero in on. For example, get in the car. There's only one car that I'm referring to. As opposed to, look at the cars. I'm not really pointing to anyone in particular. I'm just gesturing to say to a car park or parking lot. As opposed to saying, I need a car. So maybe you're at you're renting a car and you're not that picky. Just, I need a car. So we use these constantly in English. They're practically in, feels like just about every sentence that we say. So it's really important that we get a grip on which article to use in any given context. So let's take a closer look. The definite article, the, T-H-E, focuses attention on a particular person, people, place, places, things, or things. The reason for the slashes there, it's because this works with singular and for plural. If I'm referring to one specific president, the president or the presidents, let's go to the park, or on trips we like visiting the parks. The toy, the toys. So very straightforward. Just you're drawing the audience's attention to a particular thing. So it goes before the noun. On the other hand, we quite often refer to things that are not that specific. If you're talking to someone, so does your country have a president or a prime minister? Would you like to go to a park? So in no park in particular, just let's just get outside. And the baby's upset. Can you please pass him a toy? So it doesn't matter which toy. Well, it's whatever toy is going to get the baby to be happier, right? Now, the reason why I have two words here, A/N, these are not two different words. This is the same word. The reason why it has two different spellings is actually to help us pronounce it better if the noun begins with a vowel sound. This probably is quite confusing for those who don't understand what makes a vowel a vowel. Quickly put, it's an uninterrupted sound. So if you have the uninterrupted followed by another uninterrupted sound, when can you take a breath? Try saying a apple quickly. Apple. Try saying a onion quickly. Onion. It just, you need something in between the A and the actual word so it doesn't sound like gibberish. So we simply just put in a consonant sound there with the an apple, an onion. So the simplest way, the dirty rule here is if the noun begins with a vowel, put an. But that isn't going to fix it 100% of the time, because if you look at the word union, even though it begins with a vowel, doesn't make a strong enough vowel sound that we need it in there. So we say a union as opposed to an union. Just native speakers will hear that sounds odd right away. And if you look at a word like honor, the H, it's not completely silent, but in this case, yeah, we really don't need an H in there to spell or to get the sounds we need for honor. So we can't say a honor, we say an honor. So if the noun begins with a vowel sound, go with an. Otherwise, you're just going to put a president, a park, a toy. And quick note, because a also means one in English, can you please pass me a pen? The indefinite article is always going to be singular. through the magic of the English language, when the noun becomes plural, it can no longer be unspecific. It just becomes specific. So you can never say, please pass me a apples, because I mean, that's just obviously gibberish. If a means one, please pass me the apples. Moving along, quick point. We have also looked at adjectives on this channel. Adjectives give an extra description word to the noun. It's a word that comes before the noun that gives it some extra details. So since the article also has to come before the noun, in this case, it's very easy. The article always comes before the adjective, which comes before the noun. A fresh apple. So A, there's your article, fresh your adjective, and your noun is apple. And now notice, I didn't need to say an there, because a, and we get the consonant sound fresh with the next word. And so again, the only reason why we ever spell it an is just to help us pronounce it better, such as an honorable finish. And when it comes to the definite article, the new phone, the former presidents. Very straightforward. Now let's get into something a little bit more challenging. Articles and non-count nouns. Please watch our video Nouns Galore for a deep dive into all the wonderful world of nouns. Sometimes things can't be reasonably counted. Let's just say you're at the beach and you're looking at the sand and you're looking out across the water. I mean, there's only one body of water there. There's only one large collection of sand. But when you actually pick up sand in your hand, you can't say a sand or the sand. You have sand in your hand. It usually works well with a determiner, such as the word some. Like, I have some sand in my shoe. So there's really no a quick rule here, because I've already demonstrated that you can have the article in front of a non-count noun, such as the sand is hot on bare feet. You could have a determiner in front of it. That helps to narrow it in. And sometimes it's inappropriate to even have an article altogether, such as you're getting sand everywhere. So I really don't have a good cheat code for you on this one. This is just something that's going to come with practice, but I can give you a little bit of advice. So reflect. Am I referring to something specific? This gets into the area of what Michel Thomas, great language tapes. Please listen to him. He talks about a heightened awareness of language. So when you're really zeroing in on this person, place, or thing that you're looking at, how specific is it? If it's specific, it's going to take on the definite article, such as the happiness of my family is important. I mean, how do you measure happiness? How do you count it? But if I'm really thinking about what's important to my family and I'm isolating that concept, I put the article in front of it, as opposed to a general sense of that abstract idea, continuing with happiness. Let's hope the donation brings some happiness, as opposed to let's hope the donation brings happiness. If you listen carefully there, you're putting a lot of expectation on that donation, that it's going to solve everything and it's going to sweep into this whole thing that we call happiness. So you're qualifying it, you're limiting it a little bit, but just by saying some happiness, as opposed to just referring to the concept in general. Happiness is important. So my advice here is you're thinking in, how specific am I being? Most of the time, putting the article is not going to work with an abstract idea. The determiner usually works better. And looking over these examples, happiness is important. I could also say some happiness is important. and I more or less keep the same idea. Don't be too scared of making mistakes when you're learning a language, because this is a really good example of where we learn from our mistakes. You take a risk, you get it out there, and you maybe even begin to hear it, that no, that doesn't sound right, I should think about that. Or maybe you get corrected. At the end of the day, it's a good example of where you learn something from the error, and chances are you're not going to cause a major embarrassment for yourself or others by forgetting or misunderstanding an article in front of a noun. But if you can think of ways, of funny ways you can mess that up, well, hey, please put it down in the comments. I would love to read them. And to tell you the truth, there's other things that don't really seem to make much sense. I've long noticed that when it comes to television, people tend not to say, I'm going to watch the television, or I'm going to watch a television. Let's watch television. And I'm also seeing it more with very popular social media platforms such as Instagram or TikTok. He's on TikTok. What does that even mean? I mean, is he scrolling through it like he's actively viewing it? Is he posting content onto TikTok? It really doesn't make that much sense. If you have no idea what TikTok is, it's like, oh, well, if you don't know what TikTok is, of course it's going to be gibberish. And even to say he's on the TikTok or he's on a TikTok, I mean, actually the second one could refer to a particular TikTok video, but to say he's on the TikTok instantly makes you sound like you're 90 years old. So I'm not sure what's going on with these tangible things. You can see a television, you can see TikTok, so it's not that abstract, but why don't they take on an article? I'm really not sure. If you have any theories of your own, please put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But in the meantime, I don't have a clear rule for you when it comes to these mass media platforms and why they're not taking on an article. The good news is we have a good roadmap to success here that's going to work over 90% of the time. So to recap, if you have an unspecified singular noun, use a. Unless that noun begins with a vowel sound, then add in an N. It's the same word, but it's going to help you pronounce that noun. And if it's specified or a plural noun, always use the. When you're getting into non-count nouns, you just need to think about the context of the sentence and what you're specifically referring to. Think of a determiner, such as some, a lot, many, words like that, to help narrow in what you are referring to when you're looking at something that can't be technically counted. Some nouns, mostly abstract, or as we saw with these mass media platforms, take no article, and they just need to be learned over time. The more you practice, the more you interact with the language, you're going to be great. So, in the meantime, I mentioned our Nouns Galore video in passing. If you'd like to know more about how vowels work, there's a video on consonants and vowels. And in the meantime, like and subscribe, and I look forward to reading your questions down in the comments. Have a great day. Bye.